Hey everyone! Welcome to this part of my channel, Paper Quilling. My name is Mary. For those of you who are just joining me, welcome! Paper quilling is an art form where you roll strips of paper, pinch them into shapes, and glue them into designs. You can create just about anything from paper quilling, and you can decorate about everything from paper quilling. I hope you all had a great St. Patrick's Day. For my St. Patrick's Day, I worked on 3D leprechauns. If you liked my video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Feel free to leave me comments. So for the 3D leprechauns, again with paper quilling, the options are endless. You can do one that's sitting down, and he's more narrow with the head. You can do a female in a dress with her arm behind her back, or you can do one that's standing up, which we will be doing today. I will warn you that this video will be a little longer, as it is a step-by-step tutorial on how to make a 3D leprechaun. This video is also a great source if you're beginning to start doll making, which is such a thing in paper quilling. You can make dolls out of paper quilling. They do take time. Now there's a lot of materials you will need for this leprechaun. I will list the strips of paper down below that I used and their sizes as well as their colors, because there's several different strips that I used. You will also need glue. I will be using two types of glue. The first one I will be using is white tacky glue. This is really good for working the inside of the domes. I will also be using Elmer's clear glue. I will be using some scissors, two pieces of scratch paper. One is green and one is yellow, just like these. I'm also going to be using two different types of slotted tools. The reason I'm using two types of slotted tools is this purple one, the opening is a little bigger than the blue one. This is great for doing the thicker strips of paper. I will be using some gold glitter. I will also be using a mechanical pencil that takes 0.5 lead. Now the other two items I'm going to show you are optional. You can be using a paintbrush and a paint tray. I'm going to be using those because I like to dip my paintbrush in as I'm working on the domes and gluing my strips of paper together. You don't have to, you can just use a bottle if you want. Last but not least, you will need a dome-shaped mold. We will be using some of the cone shapes and some of the round ones. Like I said before, we are doing leprechauns, and there's a lot to them. So we're going to be making this guy right here. He's 3D. He does stand when you have the right surface by himself. You can also make one like him with a pot of gold, with a more narrow face, narrow body. You can even do a female with a hat, braids, using googly eyes. This one has quilled eyes. This one has sequences for eyes. There's just numerous things you can do for a leprechaun. So to make him, we are going to start off with the head. To start making the head, we're going to take our strip of paper that's 3/8 width, and we're going to start rolling it. I'm using a bigger slotted tool because it'll be easier to tuck and roll everything. So again, the tuck and roll method goes really easy. You get to the almost end of your strip, and then you'll add another Again, it's 5 strips per dome. The head takes 2 domes. So we put it in. And we roll. If you guys want to be clever because you don't have the color strips of paper you need, you can paint them. I painted almost all the strips I'm going to be using today, so they could be the color I wanted them to be. I just used regular acrylic paint that you can buy at Walmart or Hobby Lobby for pretty cheap. So you're on your last strip of paper. We're going to keep rolling it till that one's done. And it's going to be a tight coil. So I have it there. You're going to add a little glue. I'm going to be using glue in a paint dish with paintbrush so I can get an even coat. And I'm also going to be using this method to do the inside of the dome. So you just glue it like that. And once it's glued, you're going to slide it off. And we're going to use our dome-shaped mold. And you just put it on and slowly work it down. And once you have the dome shape you want, take it off. You're going to add some more glue to the inside of it. This helps keep it sturdy and keep it shaped. Make the arm. Same thing, tuck and roll method. I find this method just makes everything easy, and like I said before, this is actually how you start making 3D miniature dolls. So again, you just tuck and roll, and you're making these tight coils for the most part. You're going to add glue. So you want to make sure that ends down. You slide it off, and we're going to use the cone shape number 3 to start. So you bring it all the way down as far as it can go, and then you take your number 5 mechanical pencil. You could use 7, but I think 5 works better. You poke it in the little hole in the middle, and you slowly work it down till you can't go any further on the pencil. We want a nice top to it, and it gives it its length. Once that's done, slide it off and pour the glue in it. I've done it before, or you can use a paintbrush and just make sure it's spread around nice and even. So there's one of our arms. Then to make the hat, we are going to 6 strips of paper. Again, same width, 3/8 inch width. And you're going to roll them just like you did with the head. The tuck and roll method. Method is easy, but it does take a little bit of time. There we go. And then once you can get it, it does go pretty fast. Again, it's easier using a bigger slotted tool because the opening of the slot is a little bigger, which can hold a lot more thicker paper. And we're on our last strip. And we're doing it again. If this gets too big on your slotted tool, you guys can always pop it off and roll it by hand. You just want to make sure it's all even and kept in place. We're going to glue the end again. Just a little glue. Like I said earlier, this does take time, so this is going to be a little longer video because there is a lot to this Leprechaun 3D doll making. Glue the end. We're going to pop it off. Now for the hat, we're going to use either number 4 or 5. Just Number 4, it will cover the whole dome. And if you want just a little bigger, you can put it on 5. And there's your hat. So then you again glue the inside of it. I'm just using a paintbrush this time to make sure it's all spread around evenly. And while that's drying, we're going to use our green sheet of paper to make the rim. Now I'm just using a green sheet of cardstock paper like that, just so you guys can see. It's just a piece of green cardstock. Our hat is about yay big, so what I do is I make a circle a little bigger than our hat. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we will cut it out more into a circle. That just gives me an idea of what my size is. And then you're going to take your scissors, you're going to cut your circle out, and then you're going to go back inside the circle and cut out the middle. And you just want a nice circle, or an oval, or whatever size of brim you want. So we have our circle. The hat will fit pretty well. Some shapes you do want a little flatter, some you don't. That one I want up a little more. And then in the middle you poke a little hole. And you just start cutting the middle out so you have an edging. If you make it too big, you can redo it. I like to do mine a little smaller to start out with. That way I can always make it a little bigger. And this is the brim of the hat. We're going to try that. I can already tell it's going to need it to be a little bigger. Once you get your brim on, you're going to add some glue to put it in place. You guys can use a needle tip bottle, or you can use a paintbrush. Go around to hold it in place. Then we're going to make the buckle. So again, we're using a 1/4 inch width strip of paper. I like to put it just above the brim, and we go around like that. And I'm going to tear mine since I have an idea of where it is, and then you glue that in place. So there's the start of your black buckle. To make the little square, I'm going to take just a scratch piece of my yellow. It's kind of the same concept as your brim. You just cut out a little square. You can make it more of a square if you want, or a rectangle. I like more rectangle for the belt, so I'm going to make this more of a square. It's going to be a little crooked square, but that's okay. I'm going to give it flair to the hat. And then you cut out just a little in the middle. And this is going to show the black buckle. And to make this gold, you guys can paint it gold, or you can do what I'm going to do and roll it in some gold glitter. So once you have your little piece out, you're going to, not very much, like that, you're just gluing it. And then I really like my gold glitter because it has a pour nozzle, or it has a sprinkle nozzle, just like seasonings. And I'm going to do it over my paint dish. And you just cover it in gold. I like to get it out of the middle so you can see the buckle. I just kind of use a paintbrush. You can use your nail to get it out of the middle. And if there's places you think that needs more, pick up more glitter and just rub it on. And then when that's ready, again, you're going to add just a little glue. And you're going to put it where you want to on the front of the hat. So we're going to put it right about here. And put it on. Now you have the hat made. So to get the head together, we're going to take our two domes we've made and we're going to put glue on the rim of the coil or the dome. You want enough glue that it sticks. Too little glue, it'll fall off and become wobbly. And we put it on. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. You want them kind of even. Again, I like lining up the backs. And it doesn't matter that it's a little bigger. Whatever side you guys are going to show, you're going to want to put that out in front. My seams are lined up. And I'm going to flatten it. And that goes on the body. The one that's up more, you're going to put your hat on. Like that. So that's glued into place. Our quilling tool, again, it is possible to do these with a smaller quilling tool, slaughter tool. The body, again, is tuck and roll method. And once you get these assembled, the buckle for the body is a 3/8 with black piece of paper. I'm not going to be doing that as I've already shown you how to do a buckle for the hat. It's the same concept, just a little bigger piece of paper. And then once the body's put together, you can add the arms. And then the feet we will do in just a minute. They are a 1/4 inch width strip of paper in a teardrop. So you make a loose coil and pinch them into a teardrop. It just depends how you guys want the leprechauns. If you want them sitting, you're going to want to make the legs longer domes like what we did with the arms. And that takes a little bit of time just to really push them out. So you just tuck it in behind the coil and keep rolling. So this is going to be 7 strips. I'm going to actually back it off and take it off. And then I'm going to roll it myself with my hands. And it is possible to keep this, even doing the tuck and roll method. You just want it nice and tight, and you're going to glue it, and we're going to make a dome shape. So it'll stick. I'm going to keep rolling it so it's nice and tight. I kind of pull the strip as I go just to make sure it's a tight, big coil. Like that. And you want more of a small round, maybe cone, down just a little bit. And that's how I want his body. So then you're going to glue that again to your dome you just made. And once the glue dries, you will be putting it all together. Body, you want one small, like a flatter end, and one more raised. This will just help keep the head on. It'll give it something for the head to sit on. Like that. I said it's okay if you don't use the same size. It gives it character. So you can either do the bigger part like the stomach and have the head sit up on the smaller one or the top of the big one, or you can flip it. I'm going to do the longer one to give him more of a trunk, and then we will continue on. So once you get them together like that, you can add the arms like this. I try to get them the same length and width, and I'm going to use the tips and glue them on the side. I'm going to put them up right by the neck, of your leprechaun. And while he dries, I'm going to show you how to make the beard. Now the beard does take some time. You're going to need quite a few orange 1/8 inch width strips of paper. Now the beard is pretty much just loose coils or loose scrolls. We're going to have the tail on them so we can add top and bottom layer. I've already started a few of these, but I want to show you where to start. You take your strip of paper, you're going to fold it in half. I'm going to cut each piece so you get 2 pieces now. You want a total of 8 total. So you're going to fold this in half again. And you're going to do that with the other half of paper. And you're going to fold it in half one more time. Your goal is to get a size of paper about this long. So once you fold your paper into the halves, so you have 8 pieces from a strip of paper, it's time to start quilling them. To do this, you're going to take your quilling tool. I like the one with a little slot to do this. You're going to roll it into a loose scroll, which was my last video. And a loose scroll for the shamrock, remember you just roll it to almost the end and then you curl the end. And you pop it off and it should make like a comma or a colon. And this is what it looks like a little comma. Once you get several of those made, you can add them to the beard. I do one layer on the bottom where the tail is tucked under the head, and I do one on top where it's tucked into the bottom layer. I'm not going to do his whole beard, I'm just going to show you what you can expect. So again, I like to use my paintbrush for my glue. I'm going to start on the underneath of the head. I'm going to take a loose scroll and it does take time, but it shouldn't matter how he looks because you just want the curls there. So I'm going to move this one over here, and you're going to add another one. Add just a little glue to make it more of a loose coil, because you are working with smaller pieces of paper. Once you have like the top, you're going to add glue, and I'll show you how to make the top layer. So this way we're putting the tails up. We're going to take one and put it with the tail down. Put it in. It's kind of like the tuck and roll method, but not quite. And you glue that. And you want to do his whole face and leave room for a nose and eyes. Then to do the feet, you're going to need again a 1/4 inch width strip of paper. We're going to make them into a loose coil. A loose coil does not have a tail like a loose scroll does. And they're going to be teardrops, and that gives him something to stand on. It is easier to make feet when you have a wider base. So we do that. We're going to let it expand. Put some glue on it. And pinch it into a teardrop. And you're going to make 2 of those. I like to check my work and see, and the 2 should fit perfect. To make the eyes, you guys need an 1/8 inch width strip of paper, black. or any color you want. Mine kind of looks like he has sunglasses on. You do a tight coil with that, and the nose is a peach colored 1/8 inch strip, cut in half, rolled into a tight coil as well. So this is what your finished leprechaun shall look like. He's got his beard, eyes, nose, buckle, and feet. Thank you for joining me for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I hope to see you next time. Thank you.